All right, for today's video review, we're going to be taking a look at Transformers Legacy Evolution G2 Universe Toxitron. Now, this guy is part of what I've seen referred to as the Toxitron Collection. It's not actually called that on the box or anything, but that's generally what I've seen the subline referred to as. And it is exclusive to Walmart. It's a subline that has 3 Deluxes, 1 Voyager, and 2 Leader class figures. And the theme of it is generally focused on canceled G2 color schemes. So, you know, the one of the more famous ones of that is Toxitron himself, who was originally going to be a repaint of the G2 Laser Prime mold. I'm pretty sure that the original Toxitron was actually going to be a universe thing that ended up getting canceled, but it was using the G2 Prime mold. I'm not totally sure on that. Again, these are all kind of like obscure things, and it is a neat idea to have a subline kind of like specifically focused on like the wacky 90s color schemes, and then even more specifically focused on the ones that were canceled, that never actually saw original release, that we've only seen in images through like conventions and stuff like that. Toxitron has gotten a figure since then. So there was the original G2 one, which didn't actually end up happening, and then it homaging the same thing basically. And I think it was BotCon used the Combiner Wars mold to do Toxitron, but here we have Toxitron done properly in the actual G2 Laser Prime, the newer G2 Laser Prime mold, and I think it looks fantastic. This was the only one in the subline that I really wanted to pick up. They're all cool color schemes. It's just I'm trying to be a little bit reserved in terms of like the weird wacky repaints of figures that I don't have a specific attachment to. I was really tempted by the G2 Grimlock, just because the color scheme is really audacious, and I love the Studio Series Grimlock mold, but I think I'll pass on that for now and just stick with Toxitron. And I wasn't really super interested in any of the Deluxes or the Voyagers, but either way, yeah, here we have Toxitron, and I think he looks really nice. I love this color scheme of like the bright neon-y green, and then the like reddish pinky purple. I just think it works really well. I love the like slime detailing on here. Now, the original Toxitron did also have his name, like Toxitron, written on the side. Maybe that would have been nice. I'm kind of okay with them not doing that, especially because like there's all the side detailing on here. It would have had to be split up, but I'm sure that a company like Toy Hacks will do like a sticker labels sheet that will give you that detail if you want it. But ultimately, I think it looks pretty good. Now, this is just a straight up repaint of the Laser Prime mold that, this is now the 3rd time that I own it. I don't even really think this mold is like that fantastic, and now I own 3 of them. But the one thing that they do well with this mold is it always has a really nice paint scheme, and this is no exception to that. He does have the G2 Decepticon logo on the top there, which again, I sort of thought Toxitron was a universe thing that was just using the G2 mold, so I don't know how much sense that makes, but either way, it's still pretty cool. It rolls fairly nicely with or without the trailer. This mold has always done kind of a thing with if you have the arms tabbed in here up like that, I feel like it gives a slight bow to the truck, so like the middle wheels don't generally seem to roll. Apparently neither is the front wheel. Yeah, it's kind of tight. Weird. But I guess if you wanted to alleviate that, you could just not tab in the arms and then flip up these panels, and that helps with that a little bit. I mean, they still stay in place just fine, but then you can actually get all 6 wheels rolling on the ground. So I tend to do it the way it's supposed to be, but you'd certainly have that option. I actually think he was packaged with these not folded out like that, so whichever way, I just like that it kind of blends in the truck there a little bit more. Comes with the same weapons, obviously, as the previous molds, and they store in the same way. If you want to store them just on the truck, the sword does have, it's got a couple tabs on the hilt here that can tab, or on the guard, or whatever you'd call it, that can tab onto these slots underside the truck here, just like that. And then the axe you can fold in half on this hinge, and then there's 2 slots right there that will correspond to the 2 tabs on the hilt itself, so that you can have it like that. And that's an option. I mean, obviously, I think this is like better storage for weapons than a lot of Prime figures usually have, because usually it's just like a gun sticking off the back. That does mean you can't plug in the trailer, but if you want to have the trailer and have the weapon stored, they also do have a place to store in the trailer itself. Tabs on the sword feel a little bit tighter than the previous one, so it's a little bit annoying, like getting it untabbed from things, especially since it's clear plastic too. You don't really want to like risk flexing it or whatever, because it might just snap. But for the trailer itself, and if you want the trailer just sitting by itself, you can flip down this this kickstand, just like the previous versions of the mold. But if you untab this purple section, then you can open up these pieces to the side, and then I guess might as well just show up the base mode now. You flip down that panel, and then you take this whole thing and double hinge it down, and then rotate this piece around on the ball joint, and fold it in like that, and then flip out the little claw. You know, it's just the same thing as the previous versions of this mold. Same little base mode. Doesn't really do a whole lot. You can kind of rotate the little turret here. You can kind of bend the claw and do whatever you want with that. But in terms of storing the weapons, on either side of the two halves here, you can store either weapon on either side. It has a little slot right here, this weird shaped one that corresponds to the tabs on the axe. So you can just plug it in like that. And then these two slots here correspond to the same tabs on the sword. So you can plug it in there as well. Again, kind of tight here on this one, and it's a little bit difficult to unpeg, and then you can just fold it up back like it was before, and everything stores nice and clean, unobtrusively inside the trailer, which I do appreciate. But yeah, you know, rolls pretty well with the trailer or without it. I just think it looks super fantastic. In terms of comparisons in this mode, just for the standard one, here he is with Kingdom Sideswipe. Yeah, works well enough, like, you know, all the different versions of the Earthrise Prime mold, or, you know, the G2 Prime mold. It's always a little bit small in comparison to like a lot of the deluxe cars, but you know, whatever. For a kind of fun comparison, here he is with Transformers Prime Dead End, just because I feel like he also has a very like toxic-y color scheme, so I feel like the two of them would be kind of cool together, but that's what they look like together. And then of course here he is with the other two versions of this mold, with the original G2 Laser Prime from Legacy? Is it just regular? Like, I totally cannot remember what wave that was in. And then the Scourge version from the Velocitron line, which was also a Walmart exclusive. And yeah, like I said, I feel like, excuse me. Like I said, I feel like all three of these color schemes really just knock it out of the park. They just all really pop in different ways. Granted, like paint detailing wise, I feel like he doesn't have quite as much as the other two guys. He's mostly just, he pops because the colors are so like ridiculous. Like he does have the drips there, but you know, a little bit less of like the, you know, specific stuff picked out on the trailer, which again doesn't really bug me a whole lot because I feel like he looks pretty cool regardless. I'd say, you know, if you want, like, I wish they kind of redistributed the paint budget to like maybe, you know, paint the steps here so they weren't the lime green or something like that, just to, you know, break it up a little bit. But overall, I think that all three of them look really nice here. Now, in terms of transformation, obviously, you know, we'll just take off the trailer and put that off to the side for now. It transforms the exact same way as the other ones. You just take and you know, even kind of similarly to Earthrise Prime on the lower half here, but you just take the little, you know, gas tanks here and just fold them to the inside of the legs. Take these panels here, and they have this little tiny slot that goes over the little tiny tabs. So you want to make sure you fold those up. Then take these sections, which will be the arms, and just fold them up. And then you want to take this entire section, kind of bend it down at the waist, and then bring it back up on this joint, and then rotate it around while you do that. Then we'll just do the legs here. Just fold in the little knee pad things here, separate the legs, and then open up the feet and the heels there. Let's just adjust the camera here real quick. Okay, and then you want to take the entire kind of cab section here and just fold it out on that hinge just like that. And then you want to take these sections here, you want to flip up these pieces and then just take the entire like front end of the truck and split it down the middle, and then kind of just bring it out to the side just like this for now. Don't lock it into place yet. And that allows you to take the chest section here, and it rotates around just like this. Oop, don't want to open that up. It's getting stuck on something. Can't really tell what that, there we go. Flip it up like that, and then take the bottom section of it and just flip it into the rest of the chest and just leave that up like that for now. And doing that allows you to rotate the arms out to the side. There's like a little bit of clearance issues with it getting past this part, like with the previous versions, but it's not too bad. And then once you've done that, you can kind of flex the back section back just enough that you can take these side panels and flip them into the body so that they can actually tab into place like that. And then take the entire chest section and bring it down and tab it into those sections. And then you can take the head, which will also tab into like the top ends of those sections just like that. Then flip the arms the rest of the way and then click them into place. Rotate them around at the biceps because it has that kind of like offset bicep swivel, so it kind of sits more cleanly in truck mode. Rotates out like that. And then you want to take this panel on the arm and then flip out the hand, which can be a little tricky to grab sometimes, but it's not too bad. Also, on all three versions of this mold, you know, they're packaged in truck mode. I'm pretty sure all three were. And all three of them, they had the hands rotated the other way to flip into there. You definitely don't have to do that for transformation. They can just stay, you know, like how they are in their robot mode orientation. So I usually don't, but I think technically that's supposed to be a transformation step, but it's completely unnecessary. You want to close that up, then take the shoulder pads and just kind of fold them down the rest of the way and then fold down these panels back down. And then he still does the neat trick of having the extra like jetpack filler piece inside the front here that you can fold out like that and then fold up the whole thing onto the backpack. And there we have Toxitron in his robot mode. And yeah, I mean, these colors still really shine. I think it looks super great. Obviously, it's super accurate to the original, you know, concept of Toxitron, just because this was the mold that he was supposed to be in originally. Yeah, just looks really nice. I'm a huge sucker for like lime green and purple as like a weird kind of toxic color scheme. I think it works really well. Now, obviously, articulation is just the same as the previous versions of this mold. There's no remolding, same head and everything like that. The head is on a ball joint. I remember on my Laser Prime, I mentioned in the Scourge review how my Laser Prime's ball joint was like felt warped or something, and I did actually find out later that it was just like, for whatever reason, the head was just like not totally locked onto the ball joint, which like really limited the articulation, made him kind of like look down a little bit, and his head was a little too far forward. So it turns out there was no molding issue. It was just not clicked into the ball joint properly. So that was completely fixable, which was good to see. But yeah, no, his seems fine. Head is on a ball joint, can rotate around like that. The shoulders are obviously still the big bummer of this guy, where the shoulder pads themselves can't move. So if you bring his arm out to the side, it goes out like that, or it can go forward like that, and it kind of like sinks into the shoulder pad, but it, you know, means that he can't, you know, like get his arms any past the T pose. It's not my favorite solution. And again, because like it visually looks like the shoulders should be a little bit higher, it always kind of looks like his arms are a little bit pinched into the side. And then speaking of that, weirdly, I feel like this issue has just gotten worse with each version of this mold, whereas you would expect it to, like, you know, for mold degradation to actually work in its favor a little bit. But you remember how like figures used to have that annoying thing, some figures did, where like their leg ratchets had like, you know, not enough teeth, so they'd either be in like this or like out like this. Well, this guy's got that on the arms. So this is one click, and then the next click is here. And it's really difficult to get it anywhere in between those. Like, you can kind of get it like halfway in between, but that's still sort of like, you know, too far out to the side just for like a candid pose. Whereas I'd want him to just be able to like chill like this, but he really can't, which is super annoying. And I don't really remember that being an issue on the original Laser Prime mold. And then I remember it being kind of an issue on Scourge, but it's even worse on him. And you'd expect it to be kind of the opposite. Like, you know, the like corners of the pieces get a little bit more worn down as they reuse the mold more, but no, it's even more prominent on him. So I don't know, I might try to like pop the pin out of the arm and see if I can just like shave down that section a little bit, just so it can actually like sit in between these, because like this is really annoying, because like having him like straight stock like arms to the side like this, I feel like just looks a little awkward. Just for like a nice candid pose, you just want it to be like there. And you know, you can get like one arm to hold there sometimes, but like this arm especially always wants to bounce back in, which is super annoying. So yeah, again, just like the shoulders on this guy are just like the thing that, you know, messes with everything else. But yeah, he's got the bicep swivel. Like I said, it is offset, so if you rotate it too far, it starts to look weird. He's got 90 degrees of bend at the elbow. The wrists are on ball joints, so they, you know, they pretty much just get a swivels range there. But got a waist cut. Hips can go forward, back, out to the side. We've all seen, you know, the Earthrise Prime legs by this point. Over 90 degrees of bend at the knee, and then the feet can tilt out to the side, and then both the the heel and the toe can bend in like that. So, you know, decent articulation. Really just the one thing is those shoulders, man. Like, even if they weren't rotating the block or whatever, like, I just wish that this wasn't an issue, because that's really annoying. And it just seems like it's completely unnecessary, because like his arms aren't even really that heavy. He doesn't have any heavy accessories. There's really no reason he needed to have like detents with his with his shoulder articulation. Like, going out to the side, like, that's fine, because it's, there's enough like different teeth locking points that it works. But that it's like there's really three sections the way that it's molded, and it's a soft detent, but it's still annoying. But yeah, in terms of his weapons and stuff, obviously we can bring the trailer back on. He's got the same stuff as the different versions of this mold. The axe here, which you can unfold and put in his hand like that. Still kind of a weird weapon, but he's got it. And then the sword, which again still has that little tab on there for no discernible reason. So you have to make sure that you slide it into his hand like this. And then, once it's in, you can rotate it around if you want, or whatever. It doesn't really matter. So he's got that. And then, like with the previous versions, you can still take the sword again, make sure that the tab is facing outwards, and then plug it into the shield to give him a bigger super sword, which I still think looks pretty cool, especially in these, bright neon-y translucent colors. I think that's fun. You can take off this little section here and have it be a handgun for him, and I think that's a pretty cool look. This section still removes for whatever reason, so I guess you could have him hold that, but to what end? Maybe this is what the detents and the arms are for, but yeah, I mean, the peg's not really long enough to stick into his fist, and also, why would you even want to do this? So but yeah, that's with the trailer. Unfortunately, still, there's no real way to store the weapons just like on the robot mode in and of itself. Like, it's too bad that there isn't, there's like tabs and things all over these weapons, some of which don't even do anything. Like, there's a tab on the sword that doesn't do anything, and then the one on the handle, and then this is just for plugging into the handle here. But it's a shame that there isn't some way to just like tab it onto the back here. Like, there is, like, this tab that goes into the handle conceivably seems like it should fit in that slot, but because the hinge is there, it kind of gets in the way, so it can't really do it. So yeah, I wish that there was a way to store it on the robot mode itself, but it does store in the trailer just fine, thankfully. But yeah, in terms of comparisons in this mode, here he is again with Kingdom Sideswipe, just so you can see what he looks like with an average size deluxe there. Here he is again with Transformers Prime Dead End. Again, they're just kind of similarly themed, but none of the colors really match specifically enough for them to, they actually kind of clash with each other a little bit, but thematically I feel like they're kind of cool together. And then last but not least, here he is again with G2 Laser Prime and Scourge from the Velocitron line. And yeah, they all look good. Here, this is what I'm saying. Like, look, you can, I mean, he does it a little bit, but you can get his arm out to the side. He also does this, but his, I feel like, are the worst. So I don't know. It's not great on any of the three of them, but you can at least get him kind of sitting with it off to the side, whereas it doesn't really work on these two. Here's what I'm saying. I was able to fix the head on Prime there. But yeah, that's, I feel like they all look really good just for different reasons. But, the shoulders are the thing that screws me up about all three of them pretty much. And then in terms of other stuff, obviously he still does the things that this mold could do, where you can flip open the missile racks here on the shoulders. They're just done in that, in like a neon-y yellow. I mean, surely it must be the same color as this, but, it just looks a little bit darker, or like it looks like a different color just because of, the plastic that's behind it. But that's got to be on the same mold, or on the same, like, sprue or whatever as the translucent yellow, so you can do that. He still has the matrix in his chest. They did not paint it or anything, which is, fine. Or actually, that's not the same color. It must be this is the same. Yeah, there you go. Well, that looks different too. I don't know. There's no way they have 4 different colors of of translucent plastic on this one figure. But yeah, that's what that looks like. It's kind of an orangey color. It's got a little bit of a sparkle to it, which is nice, but they didn't paint it at all. But again, I don't know if Toxitron as a character is supposed to have a matrix, so it's just included because it's included, but I don't know if it's actually something that the character would have. I don't know if there's a lot of Toxitron lore. But yeah, that's pretty much all there is to him. Same, pluses and minuses of the previous versions of this mold, obviously. Color scheme, I think, looks fantastic. The color scheme makes up for the fact that he is kind of lacking a little bit of paint compared to the other two, I feel like. The shoulder thing is still a bummer, but otherwise it's a really nice mold. It looks great in truck mode. I like the functionality with the trailer. It does sort of feel a little bit bare bones, like it doesn't have a ton to do in the like base mode, but it still works. It does have all the weapon ports, so you can plug other things onto it if you want, but in and of itself, it doesn't do anything all that interesting. But yeah, no, still a pretty decent mold and a nice color scheme for that mold. But yeah, that's pretty much all there is to them. If you enjoy my videos, make sure to leave a like and consider subscribing to the channel. I do reviews every Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday. Make sure to check me out on my Instagram account. That's toys.n.art. And without further ado, here we have Transformers Legacy Evolution G2 Universe Toxitron.